The world is on edge tonight. Tensions are rising in the Middle East as a storm of politics, military calculations, and global power plays collide. A sudden warning from Washington has sent shockwaves through Israel's leadership, shaking plans that many believed were already set in motion. The U.S. President has drawn a red line, declaring that no annexation of the West Bank will take place, a declaration that could reshape not only the region, but the fragile balance of global security. Welcome back to my channel. In a moment that stunned diplomats and military analysts alike, the U.S. President's firm words reverberated across the corridors of power in Tel Aviv, Ramallah, and beyond. For months, Israeli officials had signaled an ambition to formally annex large portions of the West Bank territory, long disputed, deeply symbolic, and strategically vital. But now, with a single statement, Washington has halted the momentum, warning Israel that the United States will not support unilateral action. This is more than a political message. It's a warning with military implications. Behind the diplomatic language lies a complex web of military calculations. Annexation of the West Bank would not simply redraw borders. It would ignite a cascade of conflict scenarios. Israeli defense planners have long prepared for possible uprisings in the occupied territories, where tensions simmer just beneath the surface. The Palestinian Authority, already fractured and weakened, could face an explosion of unrest, and militant groups in Gaza might see annexation as the spark to launch new waves of attacks. But the danger doesn't stop there. Regional powers such as Iran, already emboldened by its proxy networks in Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq, could exploit any Israeli move as a rallying cry for their own military campaigns. The U.S. warning is not just about diplomacy. It's about preventing a chain reaction that could pull the region into open war. American intelligence sources have reportedly flagged a sharp uptick in chatter among armed factions across the Middle East, signaling that even the rumor of annexation is enough to mobilize fighters and weapons. For Israel, the stakes are enormous. Its military superiority is unquestioned, but its security is always fragile. The Iron Dome missile defense system, one of the most advanced in the world, can shield cities from rocket fire, yet it cannot stop the political fallout of a regional war. For Washington, the calculation is equally clear. The United States is already stretched thin by global conflicts from Eastern Europe to the South China Sea, and another escalation in the Middle East could push American forces and resources to their limits. This sudden shift in U.S. policy is not only a warning to Israel, but a message to the entire world. No unilateral moves, no sudden redraw of borders, not when the region is a tinderbox ready to ignite. What comes next could determine whether the Middle East edges toward war or pulls back from the brink. The White House statement has left Israeli leaders scrambling behind closed doors. Cabinet meetings stretched late into the night, with military advisors presenting maps, threat assessments, and worst-case scenarios. Intelligence officials warned that a sudden annexation push could trigger immediate unrest across the West Bank. Flashpoints like Hebron, Nablus, and Jenin, where armed factions are already poised to respond. Every checkpoint, every settlement, every vulnerable border became a calculation of risk. For Israel, this is not merely about territory. It's about survival in a region where alliances can shift overnight and enemies never sleep. American officials, meanwhile, are making it clear that this is more than a political disagreement. Sources inside the Pentagon describe heightened surveillance across the region, from drone reconnaissance flights over the Jordan Valley to electronic monitoring of Iranian-linked militias in Syria and Iraq. Washington's warning carries the weight of military intelligence. Any move toward annexation could open multiple fronts of conflict at once. U.S. naval assets in the Mediterranean and the Red Sea remain on alert, while satellite tracking continues to map unusual troop movements in neighboring states. This is a test of power, strategy, and restraint. Israel's military, equipped with cutting-edge technology like the F-35 stealth fighter and advanced cyber warfare units, stands ready for any confrontation. But even the strongest military cannot fight every enemy at once. Hezbollah's rocket stockpiles in southern Lebanon grow larger every year. Hamas, though weakened by blockades, still holds enough firepower to saturate Israel's defenses. And in the shadows, Iranian operatives quietly move weapons through secret supply routes, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The U.S. President's warning is an attempt to stop this domino effect before it begins. By drawing a line on annexation, Washington hopes to contain the conflict within the realm of diplomacy. Yet, the emotional weight of this standoff cannot be underestimated. Generations of pain, displacement, and bloodshed hang over every negotiation, every speech, every military briefing. For Palestinians, annexation would represent yet another chapter of lost land taken, futures stolen, and dreams of statehood buried under concrete walls. For Israelis, it is seen by some as the fulfillment of historical claims and the need for strategic depth against hostile neighbors. Around the world, military analysts are watching closely. European powers fear a sudden spark could send millions of refugees toward their borders. Russia, already entrenched in Syria, sees opportunity in chaos. China monitors every development, calculating how U.S. involvement might distract Washington from other theaters of conflict. This is not just a Middle Eastern crisis. It is a global chessboard where every move reverberates across continents. The question now is whether the U.S. warning will hold. Will Israel pause, weighing the cost of defiance, or will hardline voices push for action despite the risks? The next few days could reveal whether this moment becomes a turning point for peace, or the opening act of another devastating war. Across the region, the atmosphere is thick with uncertainty. In Ramallah, Palestinian leaders are urging the international community to seize this moment, calling the U.S. President's statement a rare window to halt what they view as decades of creeping occupation. In Jerusalem, hawkish voices within the Israeli government argue that American pressure cannot dictate Israel's future. They warn that delay invites weakness, that hesitation could embolden enemies and erode deterrence. Each speech, each statement is more than rhetoric. It's a signal to allies and adversaries alike. On the ground, soldiers remain at high alert. IDF units stationed along the West Bank perimeter quietly rotate, their patrol patterns shifting under the cover of night. Drones hum over the rugged hills, relaying live intelligence to command centers deep inside fortified bunkers. Palestinian youth, hardened by years of checkpoints and raids, gather in tense silence, waiting to see whether the promised annexation will come or if Washington's warning will hold. The air feels electric, a single misstep away from violence. In Washington, military planners weigh the broader picture. American forces remain spread across the globe, deterring Russian aggression in Eastern Europe, maintaining naval strength in the Indo-Pacific, and guarding key oil routes in the Persian Gulf. A full-scale escalation in the Middle East would stretch these forces to their breaking point. The U.S. President's decision to confront Israel is not simply about moral principle. It is about preventing a conflict that could drain American power at a time of multiple global flashpoints. Technology and war are intertwined in every calculation. Israel's layered missile defenses, Iron Dome, David's Sling, and the Arrow system, offer unmatched protection against rockets and ballistic missiles, but no shield is perfect. A coordinated assault from Hezbollah, Hamas, or even rogue militias armed with Iranian drones could overwhelm even the most advanced systems. The United States, for its part, maintains stealth bombers, cyber warfare capabilities, and satellite surveillance to deter escalation. Yet technology cannot erase the human cost of war. Every strike, every missile, carries the weight of civilian lives. Global powers continue to circle. Russia quietly strengthens ties with Iran, offering weapons and training while testing U.S. resolve. China uses the crisis to expand its influence through economic deals and strategic partnerships. European allies scramble to mediate, fearing another refugee crisis that could destabilize their own governments. The Middle East, once again, becomes the crucible where great power ambitions and local struggles collide. The U.S. President's warning stands as both a shield and a gamble. If Israel steps back, the region may breathe, if only for a moment. But if annexation proceeds, the consequences could ignite conflicts far beyond the West Bank, spreading from Gaza to Lebanon, from Tehran to Washington, from the deserts of Syria to the shipping lanes of the Mediterranean. The coming days will reveal whether restraint prevails or whether the world hurtles toward another chapter of war, where military technology meets the raw, unpredictable fury of human conflict.